Yes, my name is Mike Harrison, and for this portion of the group project, I'll be talking about the tertiary prevention level for drug abuse with teenagers. Tertiary prevention programs are drug prevention programs focusing on interventions and targeting chemical dependent individuals who need treatment. Examples of these preventions include assessment, diagnosis, referral into programs, management, and reentry if a fallback and relapse happens with the drug abuse. Substance abuse programs strive to help those destructive cycles of drug use, drug seeking behaviors, along with the damaging effects that go hand in hand with the continued use and abuse. Common reasons for drug use or abuse among teenagers could be a number of factors such as curiosity. Possibly their friends are seeing especially with social media as big as it is today, seeing people that they follow on social media or people in the movies are kind of depicted as having a great life and doing drugs and things like that. So that can lead into their curiosity of wanting to try. Peer pressure also with their friends, if they're into drugs, it can lead to getting them to want to fit in with their little group of friends to try them. Stress is also a big factor in this. Emotional struggles, because all teenagers, that's a very awkward period of time for them. So there's all types of struggles that they deal with their already chemical changings that they're going through with puberty and everything. Also, just the body images and everything around them. There's also a desire to escape that is a very common use or a reason for drug use. And unfortunately, physical and sexual abuse is also a very big factor in drug use with teens. If you are concerned that a teen is possibly using drugs, there are a number of common signs of drug abuse with teenagers. Some of those are their grades are starting to drop. They're having secretive behavior. Their eyes are constantly bloodshot. They're missing their curfew. There seems to be a loss of interest in any activities that used to be very, into and enjoy doing a lot. If you see a frequent or increase in hunger, or what they call munchies. If for some reason they seem to just be laughing for no reason. If you see that there's a diminished personal appearance, they're just not keeping themselves up as they used to. If you can smell smoke on them, or their clothes are on their breath. If there's also unusual tiredness, avoiding eye contact, and poor hygiene. Now, thankfully nowadays, especially with social media, the internet, there's basically we have contact with anything and everything at our fingertips constantly every day. It's a lot easier to find a drug rehabilitation help. So, as I was saying, with today's technology, finding a rehabilitation center to help with drug addiction has become much easier process. These centers are a phone call away or even a web browser away, with most offering 24/7 help and also keeping everything strictly confidential. And as you can see on the right side of the slide, it's just a couple of examples of rehabilitation centers around the Nacogdoches area. Now, I've also included a few videos depicting some of the actions of teenagers with dealing with drug abuse and abuse, which you can click the links to look on YouTube. But one in particular video that I would like to show a little bit of is a lady by the name of Laura Wendell, who's going to be speaking about her experiences with cocaine abuse.
So I did my first line of cocaine at the age of 22. I had always been a really big drinker, and I would binge drink to the point of oblivion. But for me, that first line at 22 changed everything. At the time, I was at a bit of a crossroads. I had just finished university, and a long-term boyfriend had broken up with me, and I had to decide who I was going to be without the safety net of education and of that relationship. And I just chose really badly. I decided I was going to be a party girl. I got a job in hospitality where drinking and drug taking run rife. And when someone offered me that first line, I took it because I wanted to fit in, but also because I couldn't maintain that kind of lifestyle on drinking alone. There's this really smart Irish biblical scholar, a guy called Alec Motyer, and I'm going to paraphrase something he said. He basically said, making the wrong decision starts when making the right decision would have been easy, but we didn't think it important. And that sums up my drug taking. By the time I realized just how important it was that I made the right choices, my ability to do so on my own self-will was gone. I was lost. So roll on a couple of years and I'm now drinking every day. I am taking drugs not just on the weekends now, but during the week. And the people who first introduced me to cocaine are telling me, like, you need to calm down. One of my colleagues actually told me that every day he saw me, I looked more and more like a crackhead. So effectively, after one particularly harrowing incident where I woke up with a black eye and only patchy memories of what I'd done the night before, with the help of my friends and family, I found a support group for cocaine addicts. And on the 22nd of April 2014, I got clean and sober. So that's almost 4 years. Oh, yeah, I am pretty pleased about it. I went to that group because I thought it would be funny. I thought it would be entertaining. I thought it would be like a really good story to tell at the pub. But actually what I found were a group of people who knew how I felt before I even said anything out loud. They listened to me. They didn't judge me. I was accepted, completely broken. And I found connection. I found the connection that Joanne Harry talks about in his quite famous TED Talk on addiction, when he said that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. But that connection didn't keep me sober. What kept me sober were the 12 steps of recovery. And that is a simple process laid out. It was originally written by Dr. Bob Smith and Bill Wilson, the guys who established Alcoholics Anonymous in America in the 1930s. And it basically gives tools for living for people who didn't quite get how to live, for people who couldn't handle strong emotions, for people who couldn't handle difficult situations and turn to things like drugs and alcohol or any other kind of addictive behavior instead. I'm going to talk you through what those 12 steps are and how I worked them and what they did for me. So step one, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Even in my skewed perception of life as a drug addict, I could see that my life was unmanageable. At the height of my drinking and drug taking, I got floaters in front of my eyes and numbness in my fingers and toes, nosebleeds. I was a 23-year-old with extreme memory loss. I didn't wash properly. I didn't open my mail. I also developed a really unattractive facial twitch that would go off at the most inconvenient moments. All in all, I was a complete mess. On the occasional day when I managed to do something for myself, I would maybe have a shower and I'd like moisturize my skin. And for that moment, I would feel like I had everything together. Just to something as simple as that made me feel like everything was going to be okay. I probably moisturized twice a year. So steps 2 and 3. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. So this was so liberating for me. I always felt like I was kind of the supreme ruler. Like my decisions dictated everything in my life, everything in the lives of people around me. And to realize that actually I'm not that big. that I don't have that kind of power was so freeing. It meant that I could make wrong decisions and I gave myself the grace to learn from them. For me, I'm a Christian, so I found that higher power in church. But for other people, it's just as simple as acknowledging that a group of people gathered together for a common purpose are more powerful than one person on their own. So, steps 4 and 5. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. This is hard work. Some people don't even get to the end of the 12 steps because they see this as too big a hurdle. So I did this by writing 4 lists. I wrote a list of everything I was afraid of.
Now, as you can see in the video, she did speak of a lot of the reasons that caused her into getting into drug use, such as, wanting to fit in with her friends, so it was getting into peer pressure. She also talked of her own personal experiences, how, with the signs of drug use from teenagers, of she was unmotivated, she didn't keep herself up, she wouldn't shower, her hygiene and everything, started to decline. So as you can see, it's one thing seeing it on just a slide, but it's completely different listening to a person speaking of their personal experiences that they had with it. But in conclusion, cocaine in a young age, or any age for that matter, can affect a person's livelihood, mind, body, and soul. Cocaine's not a drug that should be taken lightly. And normally people who experiment with cocaine in their mid-teens are usually addicted long into their adult years. So if you or anyone you know are having problems with cocaine or drug addiction, please reach out for help. Thank you.